Now that we have emerged out of the pandemic, there is no doubt that virtual learning and the pandemic as an entirety will be leaving long-lasting, if not forever, effects on the public education system as a whole. The pandemic was very much out of our control, but now that we have returned to in-person learning, how do we move on from here? How do we set forth some kind of path to healing and some kind of solution?
On return, they were presented with the virtual learning situation. And really nobody told them what they wanted, how to do it. They kind of had to make it up on their own. And that's not really an indictment of anyone, because the people in charge who were supposedly there to give the support were trying to figure out what to do at the same time too. So it became kind of a mess and really became a burden on the teachers, because they had to figure it out for themselves and hope they did it right. Because really teachers couldn't communicate that much with each other at the same time. So there was a lack of peer support as well as of other support from the DOE or the administration at the school, because everybody was learning what to do in this strange new situation.
One of the sticking points for HSTA was that the department has to come up with a better plan of action should another pandemic roll around, because you can't just stop, you can't just shut everything down. You know? And so I don't know what the plan is just yet, but there's supposed to be a better plan in the event that this has to happen, because I think what you're sharing is the same thing other people are feeling. Kids, parents, teachers, right? And teachers are taking a hit, you know, during that time. Unfairly so, I think. Because teachers had to wait for guidance from their administrator. Administrators had to wait for guidance from higher up. And then it keeps going, and the higher up was waiting for what was the rest of the country doing, right? And then the rest of the country was waiting to find out from CDC or Fauci or Trump or whoever they were waiting for, right? And so it just filters down to everybody else, and then we have our students, right? Our students are waiting for guidance. And so what I kept thinking during that time is we just have to be patient with one another. You know, let's not beat up on each other, because this is something out of our control. Let's just manage it as best we can, right? And so I think that's what's going to need to happen with the children. We're learning, you know, they came back with less social skills. You know, they don't know how to act. They don't know how to treat one another. And so schools are having to sort of back it up a little bit. So here comes social emotional learning, right? Which has been around for a little while. But now we have to really care about the heart of the child and the spirit of the child.
You know, bottom line for me, it's money. You got to pay teachers better, and then you'll get the people to come in. You want good people, you got to pay for them. You know, another issue that I think my wife was kind of brought up is like, okay, we have this huge teacher shortage. You know, we have over like 2,000 or up to 2,000 teachers that are not being placed. Well, where are all those salaries going? Where's all that money that's being saved by not paying these teachers? Why is that not allocated to the ones that are doing the job? You know what I mean? And making the job not so intense, making the job feel like I can be successful at it. I think what would really help is that we hire, like, I guess it would be a TA or something for each, or an EA or a TA for every teacher. You know, I know every single teacher could utilize an extra person in their classroom, no matter what they're teaching, you know, even if it's something as simple as like, I have somebody there so they can watch the class if I have to use the bathroom. You know, I mean, simple things like that. We're always having to sacrifice our own sort of health and wellness, if you will, and sanity, just to get this job done. You know, and we feel like we're forgotten about, you know, that we're on the bottom of the list. We're the last things that are taken care of. We're, you know, whenever there's new funding or whatever, we don't get it, it goes into other places or other programs, but it's not to the teachers. So, to me, I think it's a simple solution. You pay teachers more, you get better people, you get more committed people, you get people that'll stay in. And then, just being able to support them a little more. I think that would do it right there, especially here where, the cost of living's so high. I don't know how you expect somebody to, either that's already here want this teaching job, or finding people from the mainland or whatever to come over here, because there are plenty of people that would love to come here and teach. Absolutely. And they can't find housing. I mean, we could talk about housing for another thing, housing's a big issue. Provide housing for teachers, that would help. But, we can figure it out if we're, paid a decent amount. And then I feel like, the DOE just sort of nitpicks at us and finds every little way that they can take away our money. And when they should be the opposite attitude, where they should be doing everything to get us more money so that we're happier, more comfortable, and more committed.
To sum up, maybe one particular thing that an administration from a school could do is spend more time actually in the classroom. And I don't mean just come in and say hi and watch what's going on, leave. Spend some quality time there for a period of time. At the same time, not shirking their administrative duties, but there has to be a way that they can spend some time in the class every so often to see what actually teachers are doing and how their edicts are being filtered through the classroom.
From pre-pandemic to post-pandemic, there's an immediate and urgent need for an increase in pay to align with not just the cost of living in each teacher's state, but also to align with the amount of hard work that they are doing. After seeing how the education system has been crumbling from pre to post-pandemic, administration needs and emphasize on needs to spend time in the classroom to truly understand what teachers are going through. That may mean going back to teaching every few years, or even just taking the time to really sit down in the classrooms, not just during evaluations, but on a regular basis. Moving away from the pandemic, there must be an action plan for future pandemics and situations as dire as the pandemic.